David Baddiel's 82-year-old father, Colin, suffers from Pick's disease, a rare type of dementia which can make sufferers rude or impulsive.
Right, I'm going to sit here, Colin.
Is it nice to see David?
What am I supposed to do, smile?
I do get a lot of abuse, but then so does everyone.
He's a idiot, a total tit.
So what do you two normally do when you hang out together?
This, we sit around, he abuses me.
The film, The Trouble with Dad, focuses on the relationship between Baddiel, his brother Ivor, and their father.
What the hell are you doing?
Shaving your beard.
Shaving your beard. That's all. It won't. Doesn't hurt. Doesn't hurt. Oh, lovely. Look at that.
Do this side now.
That's it. See, that's it. He thinks it's done.
What's customer?
What
What the hell are you doing?
Customer's always right. Look,
What are you...
I'm shaving your beard.
I know you are.
You just asked him to do the other side.
All right, that's it.
All right, well, off.
In the film, you appear to take a lot of the abuse that's aimed at you on the chin.
Yeah.
But are you ever tempted to shout back?
I think I take the abuse partly because my dad has always been someone who's been, you know, sort of insulting banter has always been my dad's default way of expressing himself, and I sort of take some of it as affection. I also think if you're a comedian, you get used to hecklers, because my dad is like a heckler. He's like one you could never have chucked out. And yeah, I do. Like, I think it's on the film, but I certainly do from time to time swear at my dad and say some of the words back to him that he says to me. And you know what? I think he quite likes that.
Presumably it's pretty exhausting.
Yeah, what is
frightening in some ways.
Well, what's exhausting with the abuse is just it will keep going and going and going. And it spills over. That's the thing is, you know, my dad was always a man who liked this kind of like what Donald Trump would call locker room banter, right? But what happened when he got dementia was that all sense of that being something about him that was all he was. He just becomes totally someone who does that all the time and relentlessly.
And so you had to stop your daughters from seeing him at one point.
My daughter and my son. And yeah, because he became inappropriate and all sorts of things. Actually, that is exhausting. One of the weird things about it, and the documentary charts this because it was filmed over a year, is that gradually, as time went on and the dementia became worse, that has slightly come down a bit, and it's been replaced by something that really I am more frightened of, which is a kind of withdrawing, a lack of engagement, what I call a sort of turning to the wall. And what I realised when that happened was no. I mean, however exhausting it is, however tiring, I would rather my dad was abusing me, because that's him. I can see him in that, whereas the silent thing is more frightening.
Did you worry about consent with the film? Because he's clearly not really in a position to give his informed consent.
I wouldn't have wanted to do a dementia documentary, in which we showed my father sitting against a wall in a wheelchair in a tartan blanket with a vacant look in his face, because that is an object of pity. What you get instead is this kind of turbocharged super lad. And even though that is difficult and unmanageable at some level, it is also funny. However sad, it is funny. And I think, and I know this because he's watched some trailers, he's just been sitting at home, watched some trailers, he's really liked the trailers. He said to me, when one came on, he said, "That's me." And then he started saying, "That's really funny." And so it's hard to know what the truth is with consent, but there are two choices. Either you don't talk about this stuff at all, you don't show it to the light, which feels to me bad, or you go ahead with a conflicted idea that somehow or other this is something that he would like. And I believe that to be true.
Well, what would you like? If there was a change made in public policy or whatever, what's your goal there?
Well, there's two things. One is to change prevailing attitudes to dementia, to realise that there are many, many different types of dementia, that almost everyone who gets it will react and have dementia in a different way. So these are people, these are not just, you know, the same objects who respond in the same way. So the narrative needs to be shifted so people understand that. And then I suppose what I would feel, and I think lots of people feel this, is that no one in the level of social care and council care seems to quite know how to deal with it. Whenever my dad's gone into hospital and come out again, I'm on the phone all the time to his local council because the hospital have told us he needs this, but then it turns out the people at the local council don't work in tandem with the way that those recommendations are. And seconds later, you're basically in a Kafkaesque hell, and he's not getting what he needs. And I'm
Is
sure
that money at the bottom? You know, is that the bottom line?
It's either money or it's people working without being joined up in social care. And I suspect at heart it's money, because if they were joined up, then the money would have to flow to where it needs to go. One thing that would help, I think, is some kind of centralised, minister for older people, or some sense that there is an organisation at the heart of government that says, this is how we should be dealing with this part of our lives.
Because there's still an embarrassment about, a sort of taboo about...
An embarrassment, and I think maybe just an anxiety and a fear, because everyone's heading in that direction.
David Baddiel, thank you very much.
Thank you.